What's going on? This is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone, and this is your weekly gear news update. Get in the bottom of the video right there and hit the like button and the subscribe button. Do me a favor and do that if you would. Also, subscribe to the podcast and all the things that you all do because I know you like guitar stuff. Let's jump right in. We have a ton of stories today. Number one, Dunlop has released a Joe Bonamassa Signature Series Jazz 3 pick. Now, I don't know how signature it is, except for I think it has a signature on it, and I think it's gold. And honestly, I think that's kind of pretty much it. There's actually another new signature guitar pick with Dunlop, and it is a Delrin guitar pick for Yngwie Picks. So this one's actually a little bit modified. There's three different thicknesses that come in three different colors. I think it's 1.14 millimeter thick, 1.5 millimeter thick, and 2 millimeter thick. A couple of different thicknesses there in different colors with his name on it, but they've also changed the bevel of the side of the pick for speed because obviously Yngwie means speed if you think of Yngwie. So there you go. Now this company called Godlike, you've probably heard of them before. They've done some little wacky add-on sort of things that they're sort of known for. They have partnered with carbonfund.org to come up with a power supply that is made with apparently low or no carbon footprint, how they make these things. So it's like a hippie version of a power supply. In practical terms, it means that it's a 2000 watt power supply that you'll be able to use. So 2000 watts, you can daisy chain a couple of overdrives together, you know, something that's a fair amount. It's actually a lot. And you can, you know, use it as a normal power supply. I don't know if it's going to have BO or anything, but drive a Volkswagen, I'm not really sure. But basically, that's what it is. I think it's somewhere around $25 or $30 if that is something that you're into. Mooer has come out with another new little kind of cool gadget that I think is very interesting. It's about the size of a pager. You can see it here. It's got an input and an output for a 1/4 inch jack for a guitar. It's got a USB and it's also got a headphone jack. It's kind of tiny and kind of cool. Fits in your pocket. 126 effects, a bunch of stuff going on in here. A tuner, a looper, all kinds of things. Nobody knows how much this thing's going to cost yet. But again, this whole idea of being able to practice on the fly, go wherever you want to go, do whatever you want to do, and have it in your pocket is awesome. Sort of like that Mustang Micro that I have. I love that thing. This stuff is, yes, like I always say this, it's not a Marshall stack, but for practical purposes and practicing without disturbing others, what a cool little tool. If you thought that Patchouli power supply a few minutes ago was weird, this one tops it. Mattoverse Solar Sound Drive. Mattoverse is a company in Wisconsin. They are known for making weird guitar effects that some of them they will tell you are sort of impractical actually, but they just want to explore what can be done. This is one of those things. It has a solar panel on the top, and as the light changes in the room, the effect changes. I don't know how practical this is. I don't know what this means, especially in an overdrive pedal, but it made me think, what if there was some sort of optically triggered delay or tremolo or some sort of time-based device that with stage lights could, I mean, the possibilities are very cool here. I don't know how practical this is. I don't know how much it costs either, but this is an interesting but wacky idea. When trying to decide what I was going to put in the thumbnail for this video, this was, you saw the thumbnail, but this was probably the other thing that I was kind of thinking about. The Line 6 DL4 Mark II. For those of you that don't know, the original DL4 was like, is legendary. There are people who break these things and buy used ones and have spare ones at home and tour with them, but they are huge. They are a little finicky. They, like I said, they can break. This is Line 6's follow-up to that. Now, what's very cool about this pedal, there's a lot in here, so you should look at it for yourself, but a few highlights are all of the legacy delays are in there, and you can flip a button. It's almost like a shift or a command button that will let you go through the new things that came from, you know, like all of the Helix line or the legacy delays from before from the DL4, which is very cool. There's also a bunch of hidden reverbs underneath there, so you could actually have a reverb and a delay at the same time and not have an extra reverb pedal. It does a lot of things. One of the highlights of it is the DL4 was not just for guitar players anymore. There's a lot of producers and beatboxers and all kinds of other musicians who used it for different things. So there's an XLR input on the back, so you can use it for an acoustic guitar or for voice stuff, for voice effects, which is very, very interesting. This is a really, really neat pedal. I'll leave a link to it in the description. I don't think it's that expensive. It's not as expensive as I thought it was going to be. I think it's like $299, which makes sense for the depth of what this thing can do. In a tweet the other day, Kirk Hammett has announced that he is working on a version 2 of his signature wah with Dunlop. I don't have any details about it. I know it's going to be purple like his Ouija guitar, but other than that, I don't really know anything about it. I just know that it's going to wah. I'm not really sure what they would change because I feel like Kirk Hammett's wah like wah'd more than other wahs ever wah'd. Like it's a very wah-y wah. So anyway, we'll just have to see. Lollar has released a set of Bass 6 pickups. For those of you that are not familiar with what a Bass 6 is, it looks sort of like a Jazzmaster, but it has Jazzmaster Jaguar sort of thing, but it has really heavy strings, but it has 6 strings, so it looks like a guitar, but it doesn't sound like a guitar because it's actually a bass. It has bass strings on it, but it's not really a 6-string bass. It's sort of in between a 6-string bass and a 6-string guitar. It's an interesting instrument. It's very niche. But the pickups in it have always been a little bit suspect. This is something that I've tossed around doing, but Lollar has done it, and I can only imagine that they are very, very good. Here we go back to practice amps. So, Jerry James Nichols, obviously we all know who he is if we follow him on Instagram, especially because he can rip. He has partnered with Blackstar to make the little mini amp. But it's got his little lightning bolt in the grill cloth, which is kind of cool. It's got a blues switch. I think it has something to do with the overdrive. But it's got also all the normal other little, things that little Blackstar amp has, the little Blackstar mini amp. It's a great little amp. You can daisy chain it with another one and have like a 6-watt stack, which is super cool. No, this is a good little practice amp. A lot of people really, really like it. And now it's got a blues switch. Boss has released the Katana Bass Series. This is very cool. Obviously, we all know the Katana. I've got a little one right over there, which is pretty cool. It's for sale if you want it. Anyway, a very, very cool little amp. They are fantastic. This is basically the same technology with the DSP effects, the Class AB power amp. So the 60-watt version has one 10-inch speaker and a tweeter, and then the 160-watt version has two 10-inch speakers and two tweeters. The basic difference between the two is the chassis cabinet size, and the wattage of the Class AB power amp, but everything else is basically the same. There's a bunch of effects in there. You can plug it into Boss into your computer and change them all out. There's a lot of the like reverb and delay effects that are in there, but they also added some bass specific ones, filters and stuff like that you would use with a bass, which I think is very, very cool. This is going to be a great amp. I know that a lot of people are waiting for something like this. Stirling by Music Man has updated pretty much their whole line of guitars and basses for 2022. I would say under this category, it's pretty much kind of bold new graphics. If you want to get into specifics, they changed around some, you could get this neck on this guitar as far as fretboards and stuff. If you're into their stuff, definitely go look at them. I will leave a link to their new stuff down below so you can check it out. But it's pretty much just different combinations of things that you can get. I don't know that there's necessarily any major groundbreaking specifics with this. Okay, so I don't want to get so into the tube shortage thing this week. However, a company called Western Electric, right here in the United States, actually it's right here in Georgia, have come out with a page on their website. They make tubes already, but these tubes are expensive. They're the 300B. It's a high output, kind of high grade audio tube. I think one tube is $700. Okay, so they've said would you buy tubes if we made them, because we could make them for guitar amps, and how much would you be willing to pay, and which ones would you? There's a little survey. I'll try to find it and leave a link to it in the description below so that you can go contribute to it, because this could be cool. Here's the trick. There's a couple things that I worry about. One is obviously cost. Judging by what the Chinese version of their tubes and the American version of their tubes cost, you're looking at, I mean, if you put together a tube set for a Hot Rod DeVille, it would be like $600. So that's a little weird. Maybe that's just my projection. I don't know. The other thing is, you can't just make a tube and have it be good. There's a lot of testing and a lot of time that goes into that. So time frame for this would also be very interesting. But go check it out, because it could be very cool in the long term. Usually I put non-guitar related stuff like watches and crap like that at the beginning of the newscast. However, this one's a little different because there's a guitar in it. So Gibson and Triumph motorcycles have teamed up to make a set. So they're doing the Bonneville T120. So for those of you that are not familiar with motorcycles, it's like my favorite thing in the world, even more than guitars, just so you know. The Bonneville T120 is a fantastic motorcycle. It's a very, very cool, very classic design. It's as classic to cafe style and cruising motorcycles as the Les Paul is to guitars. It really is. So anyway, they're taking the 59 T120 Triumph, and they're taking a 59 custom shop Les Paul, putting some Triumph appointments on it, pickup covers and pick guard and etc. Doing kind of the same thing with the bike, kind of making them look the same. And then there's a charity deal having to do with Men's Health. Whoever raises the most money wins these things. It's pretty cool. We reported on this a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so, that Fender they have announced back then the JV series, modified series, of Japanese guitars. So they got basswood bodies, V necks, a bunch of very cool appointments, some alternative switching. They're going to be somewhere in the $1,200 to $1,400 range, and these are going to be very cool. I don't think they're going to be super limited, but they're going to be kind of limited. If you want one, definitely grab it as soon as you can. I think they're going to be really nice guitars. They're all going to be kind of golden white sort of looking, which is really kind of pretty too. Everybody's going to get in the comments and be like, basswood is so... Get off of it. It's going to be a great guitar. I'm sure by now you have seen the Gibson Theodore. What an interesting guitar. Now, when I first saw this, I thought, this is the dumbest thing I have ever seen. And the more videos I watched about it, and the more I thought about it, I thought, no, if I think this guitar is dumb, I am part of the problem. This guitar is what guitar builders should be doing. And this is what they should have done in the beginning. So the story behind this guitar is, this is a guitar that Ted McCarty drew and said, I think I want to make this. This was actually before the SG. This was before anything. This would have been the first not Les Paul solid body guitar. This would have been the first not arch top solid body guitar if it had come out. It would have had two P90s in it. It would have been alder. So what they probably were thinking, he was probably thinking, was two single coils, alder body, double cut. Fender killer maybe at the time, with the kind of a pre-fire. This was before the Firebird headstock, but the Firebird headstock, really innovative actually at that time. They didn't come out with it. The SG happened instead. The rest is history. Now this guitar comes out, custom shop only, limited numbers, $5,000-ish, something like that. And there are a lot of people that really think it's stupid. And I don't think it is. I thought this at the beginning, but I don't think it is, because this represents innovation at that time. This represents innovation that didn't make it at that time. But there are all these other little niche guitars that I hope come out at some point in this collection of like undiscovered drawings. And I think it should make us think. You are the person, and I am the person who is like, please Fender, please Gibson, do something different. And then they try to do something different, and then you say, no, not that. No, not that. That's too different. Make it exactly like it was, but only a little different. And then they put active pickups in a Starcaster, and they're like, no, not that. Like, where does it end? That is my question. Like, what do they have to do to make guitar players happy? Not enough change, too much change, super wacky. This is super wacky, but I just love what it really represents for what they were trying to do and actually innovate at the beginning when there actually was this kind of innovation in guitar building. And I think in 2022, we are back to that. I really feel like we are back to that, to a point where people are going to start to really accept new and cool stuff. And I am here for it. I am super excited. So make something wacky. I want to try it. Fender, Gibson, anybody who's listening, make something wacky. I want to try it. Make sure you check out the rest of our other, that's kind of like a little Andy Rooney section. Remember who Andy Rooney was? Make sure that you check out our other stuff. We've got a live stream. We're going to do a bunch of live streams because we're really busy. You guys don't know how many, there's like 50 pickups right here on the table. We're super busy. So we'll probably be doing a little bit more live streaming because it's easier for production. But I always want to do the news on Wednesday. We're going to do a live stream because we're going to do a live unboxing later today because I got a new guitar coming. I think you're going to dig it. On Wednesday, whatever day this is. Oh, the 23rd, yeah. Wednesday the 23rd, we're going to do a live stream. Later in the day sometime, look for it. And then we're going to do our live stream Thursday night. We've got a video coming out on Saturday that's also going to be a live stream. We're going to set up a guitar live on camera with you so that you can ask questions as we do it. And we're going to set up a Telecaster from beginning to end. And I think that's going to be really fun. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you soon.